Okay, here we go with part 2 of the Mintion BeagleCam version 2 setup. So there's our camera mounted. I've got the USB cable routed there with its little power brick, or wall plug, whatever you want to call it, over in the corner. As part of this, I'll plug it in, and then I'll come over to the app to obviously do the setup. So firstly, we plug it in to the power, and this is the part that always spooks me because I know these things like to talk. So plugging it in, we have a power light.
Camera is ready for Wi-Fi connection.
Okay, so now it's ready to go into the app and start teaching it how to connect. This is where I take the QR code that's generated in front of the camera. There we go, there's a little sound that it just made. And hit next. And now it's going to try and teach the camera how to connect to the Wi-Fi network that I told it to use.
Successfully connected to the Wi-Fi.
And it has announced that it has successfully connected to the Wi-Fi. So now at the moment it's just disconnected. It's showing a reference image. And there is Frank's toolhead. So this is where we go into the setups of the printer. No, it's definitely not. I don't think we're going to find my particular, because this is a custom built printer. So in that regard, yeah, I'll just give it the name. Oh, you cannot do that. Okay, so I'll have to give it a name separately from the looks of it. USB power, no. That. I'm going to guess that we don't use this. Yes, okay, so we don't actually set this up here because this will not be controlling in the same way. Okay, so with that regard, let's go back. Now I've got the screenshot for that. Did you find it for the custom? I have a feeling this firmware needs updating. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. Let's go ahead and go back into that camera. We're going to go into the settings of it. Camera information. Okay, that's not the current firmware. Okay. So I'm going to come back in a moment and do that. Going into the firmware update, it did say there was one, but apparently there's a problem with updating it. So I need to go to the Mintion website and download the latest firmware, copy it to the SD card, and it'll upgrade from there. Okay, as most people will do, we try things before reading manuals. So we found that there was some difference obviously in the firmware that needed upgrading. I've downloaded the firmware to the root folder of the SD card provided. I've now put the card in, and they say just unplug it and plug it back in, and it should update. And we're just waiting for that.
The camera is upgrading. Please
Okay.
wait about 3 minutes. The camera will be restarted automatically.
Okay, so when it's done, it should tell us that it's reconnected to the Wi-Fi. I'm just going to probably speed this portion up. There we go. That's a sign that it's restarting, potentially. And that, or it was reading the file in, is now applying the update. Okay, it's now restarting.
Successfully connected to the Wi-Fi.
And there we go. It is now updated and connected back to the Wi-Fi. So back to the app. You'll see that it's up to the current firmware 1.2.9. So that's all good there. Let's just, yep, it is now the latest. So that's good. Now we should be able to go back into this aspect. So we're not going to be using this section here, ultimately, because it is not going to be used with a USB camera. So now we have a new type here, as we can see, machine type, Klipper. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and update these details off video so that we can do that. Now that that's been set up, I can now see my different aspects of the printer. This is the dashboard. As you can see, nothing really going at the moment, but it is connected to Moonraker in my Pad 7 Klipper controller. I can see current temperatures, obviously when it's running, so I can set them. Obviously, you know, this is a screen where I would tell it, hey, I want to set this, etc. I can home the printer, and by hitting the home, I should see it. And then let's home Z. And there we have it, homing Z. There's a little bit of delay between the actual printer movement that I'm watching and what's in the video, but that is kind of to be expected. But there we go. That is our basic setups for the Mintion camera, which is the BeagleCam version 2 with Klipper. Now, if I was going to be using a USB connected printer such as Marlin, that's where we would have used the Marlin setup, set up the USB port parameters, and probably connected either a USB-A to USB-C cable, or, you know, which comes with it, this means you would probably need an adapter for the one that came with it to go from the micro USB, or there is a data port on the opposite side that is for USB-C, which you can use with your USB-C to USB-C cable that usually came with your main board for your printer. That is pretty much the gist. I mean, they can see all the different things that I had been making previously. Any time lapses that I had, I've cleared them recently, so there's not really much to show. That's my Klipper configuration, you know. At which point, that is pretty much it. So there we go. little bit of nicety there. As you can see, it's running around 30C. You know, according to my pad 7, it's 29 C. You know, so it's about right there for nozzle and hot end temperatures. Bed temperature is 27. So if I wanted to edit this, you know, with the little pencils, I could then set those temperatures right now. It would then start preheating to whatever I wanted there. And that's pretty much it. Hope that was helpful, and thank you for watching.